Well, here's a man who knows a little about sex bots.
Hey, it's comedian Mark Norman. We were wondering if we were going to get hooked up with you, Mark. One of my favorites, Mark's new Netflix special is called Soup to Nuts. And how are you, sir?
I'm hungover and gay, sir. But, I'm here. I'm queer.
Yeah. All right. Hi, Mark.
You're honest.
Are you home?
Yeah. I live in a flop house in Flint, Michigan, but I'm here.
Okay, we'll have a glass of water and sit down. Well, it's good to see you, sir.
You too. I'm on a little fentanyl, but I'm pushing through.
There he goes. He's sitting now. Mark Norman joins us, tremendous stand-up comedian. And Soup to Nuts.
Thanks.
Soup to Nuts. Why the title?
Well, I figure I cover everything, top to bottom, A to B, soup to nuts. We get it all in, all the dark stuff, Holocaust, trans, slavery, school shootings, you name it.
Wow.
All right.
All the fun stuff.
What does the phrase soup to nuts come from? I mean, I've heard it before, but it seems like it doesn't really seem like everything A to Z or everything good to bad. It just seems like a kind of a random...
I think it's an old Jewish term for a meal. Like we had the soup first, and then you have the entree, and then the dessert, and then you have nuts at the end. So it's a restaurant thing.
That's interesting. Have you ever had a meal that ends with nuts?
No. Well.
No, but, those Jews, they're weird.
Now, you mentioned that you were hungover. Are you a heavy drinker? You like the booze, do you?
Oh my God, it's a problem. I got to cut back. My last boss said I was a high functioning alcoholic, and then my first thought was, "Geez, how do you know I was also high?"
Mark Norman is our guest once again. Soup to Nuts is the Netflix special. Mark is one of my very favorites. And may I ask, where are you living now? Are you in New Orleans or Louisiana?
No, I live in New York City and the Big Apple, and doing shows every night. Now the hobos are out. You can hear them in the night or in the morning. I can't believe I didn't wake up. It's like a hobo rooster every day. Guys just screaming outside my window. I would point my camera out there, but you would just see full on, nudity. So,
wow. What are you in Manhattan?
That's a clean show. Yes, sir.
Okay. What part of town?
I'm in Greenwich Village, right by all the comedy clubs and everything. But since the pandemic, it's gotten a little dicier.
Ah, yeah. Now, are you a single guy or a married? You're a married guy, right?
Married guy. Oh yeah, living the dream. She's got a nice plus size wife. I got to go help her grease her wheelchair in a minute. I put a broomstick in the spokes at night. But
she can't go anywhere.
All right, sorry.
Now I'm trying to remember because I remember I saw you in New York last time I was there. Are you still smoking cigarettes?
Oh well, I did as a youngster. When I was young, everybody did, and I feel like cigarettes and weed flipped. Back in the day, weed was illegal. It put you in jail. Now you can pop an edible at noon and be like, whoa, I have anxiety. And everybody goes with it. But you want to smoke a cigarette, you got to go out in an alley behind a dumpster. And then you get caught. And you just say, oh, I'm killing a hooker. Don't mind me.
The priorities of our culture may be.
Yeah, how do you, my dad caught me as a kid. He made me smoke the whole pack. Do you do that with weed now? How does that work? Hey, Timmy, we found a roach in your room. Now you got to smoke this whole eighth. And it's like, well, put on The Office.
Mark Norman is our guest. Netflix is the place to go to see Soup to Nuts, the Mark Norman comedy special. Mark is one of the finest comedians out there.
Yes.
Working. I use the term working somewhat loosely. I can see by the look on your face. Yeah, Mark is a tremendous stand-up. So it's so great that you've got this special. Am I correct in saying this was filmed in Chicago?
Yes, sir. Chicago at the Vic Theater. But I'm the only idiot that decided to film on St. Patty's Day. I was like, look at this. They got the theater available. This will be great. It was a drunk, boozy, yelly, heckly show.
Ah, well, that's good, isn't it?
I don't
disruptive, yeah.
Fist fights. Some guy got a divorce. It was bad, but we edited around it.
I see. Now living in New York City, do you own a car?
I actually own a vintage car, and I keep it in a garage because I'm too scared to scratch it. But
what is it?
Here is
What do you have?
it's a 1973 BMW 2002.
Nice. And New York City.
You know it?
Yeah, and I used to when I lived in New York, I owned a Fiat Sports Spider, which was a super.
Wow.
Yeah, driving a convertible in New York City is quite the experience. You lean back and look up and go, "I'm scared. I'm terrified."
Yeah.
Are there a lot of you seen a lot of electric cars there? You got the Teslas and the other EVs.
No, I feel like that's a little more West Coasty. We don't have a ton of EVs, although I just rented one to do a road trip, and I almost missed the gig because I kept plugging in every 2 seconds. It was like my wife's vibrator.
Are you an Elon Musk fan?
I don't mind him. I know he gets a lot of hate, but I think he seems fun. He's trying to wrestle Zuckerberg and save the world.
I saw that.
I think he's fun.
It was like a cage match. They proposed this. Did Zuckerberg challenge Elon or vice versa? I can't remember.
Well, Zuckerberg started that Threads crap. That's like a Twitter ripoff. So Elon got annoyed and said, "All right, let's take it into the ring." And it could be fun, two nerds fighting, but I think I'd rather see a cocaine off between Hunter Biden and Don Jr.
Oh, no, that's the
That would
best.
be a fun night.
That's beautiful.
Mark Norman is one of my favorite. Mark, what was your very first national late night television gig? Do you remember?
First one ever was Conan O'Brien.
All right.
That was a big deal.
Do you remember
I
the
grew
first?
up watching him? It was fun.
Do you remember the first joke you told?
Oh boy, I think I do. It was I was hungover again. Obviously, there's a problem here. I got a pattern going, but I said it's weird how when you're really hungover, you can have another beer and the hangover goes away. It's too bad you can't do that with pregnancy. Like, oh no, my wife's pregnant. Well, let's go at it again. Get rid of that baby. Like that.
On that note, we'll say goodbye. Mark Norman, it's Netflix. Soup to Nuts. Mark is one of the very best out there. Go see him live and in person if you get a chance, or watch the Netflix special until you can. Much appreciated, sir.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. It's always good to see you, and thanks for having me. And I hate myself.
We love you, sir. You are
Nice job.
Man.
See you, buddy.
that guy is so funny at all
Yeah.
times.
Very funny.
He is absolutely one of the best working today.
Oh.
So